that I came across. I just want to spend just a little bit of time talking about this video because it was kind of interesting. The brother, his name is Haki Sakur, and there was a brother with him called Glasses Malone. So this brother had a conversation about the ADOS movement and how it relates to Pan-Africanism and nationalism. And so what I want to do real quick is I took some notes. And first I want to just go with one of the core thoughts that he put out there um, is that, the ADOS, which stands for American Descendants of Slavery, he's saying that slavery is not being used, this title is not in the proper context of our struggle in terms of a Pan-African struggle. Okay, so that was one of the main points that he put out there, is that this is not the proper context for our struggle as new Africans in this country. One of the other main points that he made um, is that the only way that we are going to get reparations is to be a nation. Okay, so the only way we're going to get reparations is to be a nation. This is what, his one of the main points that's coming out throughout this whole thing. And last but not least, I want to just reiterate that there because the discussion once Glasses Malone came on about nationhood, then that was kind of hashed out, and things were we kind of moved on a little bit. But nationalism, the struggle is about nationalism. He made a point of the struggle being about nationalism being about the struggle. Okay, so when we look at Pan-Africanism is about all Africans in the struggle, basically on the continent and in the diaspora. Okay, so we're not denying the nature of Pan-Africanism and what it stands for. Okay, so one of the things that one of the points that I really wanted to get into was he talked about Special Field Order 15 shortly after 1865. After the war and stuff, and he was saying how blacks had come together. These military leaders and some religious leaders came together, and they were asked, "What do you want?" And they said, "We want land." Okay, I'm kind of just fast tracking a little bit. We want land. We want land for the toiling and the suffering and all that we've gone through on this continent. Okay, so he brought that out. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I agree with that. We do need repeat that question one last time.
Well, he said that around about 1865 when the war had ended pretty much, and there was a special order, Special Field Order 15, where they were asked, some of the black leaders and the religious leaders, they were asked, "What do you want?" And they said, "We want land." So he was saying that Brother Haki was saying this is where the 40 acres to the mule idea came out. So what he's also saying is that they did not ask for citizenship; they asked for land. Okay, so he was saying that study the Reconstruction period, and you'll see some of those dynamics. But so far, what we've talked about, what you think?
What I feel though too is that when it comes to the special order about after the Civil War after 1865, about we didn't ask for censorship, we don't ask for land, is that we still don't got the 40 acres of land and mule to this day.
What happened?
What happened though too is that they came in during the Ku Klux Klan came in. They forced all the black people out their land. At one point in time in Oklahoma, we had owned over millions of acres of land just in the whole state of Oklahoma. Where the Ku Klux Klan got formed, which was Democrat Party.
Right.
Democrat Party is just racist as Republican Party.
That's
Two
right.
parties are the same.
Okay, let's look at this right here too. Okay, so he says that, and this is just points that he brings out. I'm not, attacking the brother. It's just he brings out some good points for good, discussion.
Yeah.
So one of the things he brought out was ADOS, once again, American Descendants of Slavery. He's saying that we are not Americans. America, to say American is basically white nationality. What we're basically doing is supporting white nationality when we say American Descendants of Slavery. Mm-hmm. So we're, for those who look at that argument, which, American, I mean, who said that we were Americans? Who said that we surrendered? Because one of the things that the brother says, Haki says, is that we're at war. We were at war at that time, and there's still, I guess you can say, it's still a state of war that still exists amongst, these two parties. But whether or not we're talking about white nationalism, we were unfortunately forged in white supremacy here in this country. Okay, if you did not immigrate here into this country, then you were forged into a certain uh, personality. I'll just say personality. Okay, so you know, I think that these are things that we do need to talk about because the ADOS movement is not speaking on behalf of the whole reparations movement. What I see the ADOS movement doing is bringing the conversation into the grassroots level where we haven't really been talking about it. And they are going to help to set the agenda as well. Will they be the sole agenda? I doubt that very seriously, but they are going to help set the agenda. That's without a doubt. Okay. So, one of the things that he said is that we are the descendants of prisoners of war. So if we have this name thing, and it seems like it's this title thing, so are we prisoners of war or are we descendants of slaves? Okay. Me personally, I say after we get reparations, we can work all that out. What you think?
I would say that too. See, it's not about we consider ourselves to be Americans. It's about our lineage and our ancestors. We came from America. We have the right to claim our history here in America because we the ones that built this country.
Right now,
200 years of hard free labor.
Right now, let me just thank you for that. Let me just say this here too. Dr. Umar Johnson says that he respects what's going on, but he does not accept what's the movement, and he says he's not accepted because it goes against Pan Africanism. So him being the prince of Pan Africanism, he says that it goes against the unity and identity, as we have been laid out in terms of African. So one of the things that I would say to that is, no matter what we call ourselves, there's a big discussion about who we are. We have the New African. Well, you have the Republic of New Africa. That's one of the things the brother talked about, Republic of New Africa, because brother Glasses had asked, at what point have we separated? These other movements separated, made a separation from the body of people who were brought here and toiled in slavery and the descendants of that group of people versus people who came in at a later point and they immigrated here when it was safer to do so. Because at one point, it was not safe for any African to come here, anybody black to come here during slavery. You had to wait till afterwards. Okay. So I would love to see nationhood become the center point of who we are and what we do. But the thing is that, Brother Haki, he spoke about the New African, the Republic of New Africa. He said he is a New African historian, I believe. He says he's a New African historian. And, he was bringing some very interesting content. So if you would like to watch this video, we have it up here on the wall right here. It is, were we descendants of American slaves or descendants of nations and tribes from Africa?
And also, I want to add one thing before we close, too, is that this movement is based off of our people here in America. Like, we not like what Dr. Umar Johnson says that some things I do agree with Dr. Umar Johnson, some things I do and some things I don't, is that the Caribbean, like I said again, they just got $200 million of reparations from Britain, and they did not they did not include the ADOS in their conversations. They kept it all in the Caribbean.
Exactly.
All we just saying though too is that we want our reparations to be done for descendants of slaves that have lineage, that have ties to American people that have been through the black codes, Jim Crow, slavery, sharecropping. We just want to get our issue like the Caribbeans got theirs.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up here because our time is running out. So I just want to leave you with this thought right here, because one of the things Brother Glasses Malone, he said that the idea of grouping black people together is a fatal flaw. That is a fatal flaw in Pan-Africanism. One of the things that the ADOS movement seems to correct is let's get the historical situation together here on American soil. Okay, we know that slavery was about white supremacy, uh, beating down all Africans all over the world. Okay, so my thing, once again, is let's get these reparations here in America. Then we can take those resources and we can pursue this here in a more international arena. But what is being proposed is that, you know, once you move this into a more national platform, then once again you have to move it into an international arena, and there's a lot of things that goes into that, and a lot of people that come into play. And so at this particular point, ADOS, uh, citizens of this country, is not willing to go that route. It's just speaking for, you know, who I speak for, the small group. But you know, we're not willing to go that route. What we're saying is, let's do this. Let's close this deal. Let's get that cheddar and that land and these services, and let's change the world. All right. So I just want to throw that out there again. I just want to repeat this one more time. The idea of grouping black people together as a whole is a fatal flaw in our movement. And I think if we look back at Pan-Africanism over the last 100 years and do an analysis of that particular idea, who knows what we might come up with. I haven't done the research. I don't plan to do the research, but hopefully somebody out there will. All right. But one thing is for sure, we all understand in this movement where our ancestry come from. And we also understand that we have obstacles and we have challenges. But the main thing is that we have to start somewhere, people. We have to start somewhere. And so where we start today is with the reparations movement of America. All right, that's where we're starting right here. All right. In closing, one more last thing. Anything you want to say?
Well, the closing last thing I want to say too is that once again we focus on our issues pertaining for our people in America. We have the right to focus on our issues. We take it to our lineage and our ancestors because we the ones that built this country. We the ones that built over 75-80% of wealth that's in this country to this day. So we have the right to address ourselves as an independent black nation within America by ourselves because we built 75-80% of the wealth in this country to this day.
All right. And on that, we have to go. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope to see you next time as we talk about these various different topics that are pertinent to the peoples on the grassroots level. Black Power.
Sister Sala saying, yes.